And a very good evening, and this is a track that I'm sure you know exceptionally well. We are in round 5 of the MX-5 World Series, and we're here at the Silverstone circuit. It's Tuesday evening, it's 9 p.m. Where else would you be that other than Gantry TV? I'm sure some of you will have the Champions League on in the background, but I'm sure we will be in the foreground as the latest round of what is this enticing series continues on this transatlantic stanza in the middle. This weekend has been a big weekend for Irish motorsport on track. We will talk about all of the goings on at Mondello Park over the coming evening in our usual podcast / commentary fashion. But as always, our focus is here tonight, Tuesday evening, and to one of the world's most premier motorsport venues, the scene of the very first F1 race in the world, or the Formula One track. We are in the national variation of Silverstone circuit. We were in Mid-Ohio last week. This week we're heading to a track that we're a lot more, not necessarily more familiar with in terms of on RTA. We've raced around here plenty of times before, but this 2.639 kilometer circuit is certainly something that these guys know really, really well. I would say probably even better than the actual international variant of it. Only 6 proper turns here, a race lap record of 47.4 seconds of Scott Mansell, and this is probably Evan Dalton, one of the most raced tracks, I would say, on the RTA series.
Hello everyone, yes, I would say so, Kevin. It's the track where I made my Gantry TV debut at as well. It is one that they all know exceptionally well by now, and if they don't, well, they need to get to know, because we have a big round ahead of us here this evening in round 5 of the Mazda MX-5 World Series. It was a McClement sweep last week with Sean and Dylan taking the wins, but of course the championship still as close as ever. So very important for everyone to have a good week.
Yeah, it's going to be a huge week for a lot of these guys. We had rain 2 weeks ago. The sun came out, and while it's lashing across the fine island of Ireland this evening, or certainly where I am anyway, it is going to be a dry evening this evening in I'm not really sure what any of that means. There's most certainly big inside jokes there that I'm not entirely sure, but Evan can explain it to me. But it's a dry one here at Silverstone. For this, the latest, that's an inside joke, I think we all know, as the 69 car takes the interesting way of that corner. Bit of drifting going on there as we get towards the end of the practice session. But yeah, it's going to be a very, very tight one. Loads of great racing last week again in Mid-Ohio. Dylan McClements involved in that. Ronan Doherty as well. And plenty of spills as well, Evan. And a lot of guys getting caught up in incidents that we wouldn't necessarily expect to see them get caught up in.
Yeah, a lot of guys getting caught up in incidents. We had some drama in the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, but all in all, it was a great race. I'm just having a look. We are not doing the regular national layout tonight. We're doing the international circuit, as it's called, the just short of 2 mile one, where it's basically the total opposite of the national layout. I thought we were doing the national layout, so did you, I think, Kevin, but just looking at the cars going around track, we are doing what is called the international circuit. Again, I would have thought the international circuit was the full track, but it isn't, seemingly. Nevertheless, championship standings, Ronan Doherty at the top, 296 points. Conor Mealy at 289. Dylan McClements, 277. We haven't had a freeway fight for a championship in God knows how long in RTA. It's been 2 drivers all the way. It's great to have Conor Mealy in the mix of our 2 championship regulars. Dermot Toomey, excellent performance so far this season. Didn't necessarily have the lofty heights last week that he has had, but still fourth in the standings. Sean McGoldrick in 5th, then it is Evan Walsh, Sean McClements, Robbie Callahan, Peter McCann and Dave Collier in 10th position. And of course we have the B standings as well, a B championship on offer here in the Mazda MX-5s. Although the top of the B championship have been mixing it amongst the A's. Dave Collier is leading the B series. Have Emmett Dempsey, Phil Upson, Danny Dempsey and Ronan Duffy, your top 5.
Yeah, it does some really, really strong performers this week or this year, should I say, from down the field, which I think the MX-5 is a great leveler. And you can see such a tight battle between Dave and Emma. Emma has been driving out of her skin in some of these races, unfortunately, again, getting caught up in some incidents. But DC just about managing to keep it out of the wall at the moment. He says off the wall on this car. Well, he's certainly at the top of the championship in the B championship. But Ronan Darley, Evan, comes into this championship looking for a first championship win in quite some time, but comes in obviously with silverware to his name, having won the Leinster Trophy last week. He was a very late entry. It was something we were keeping kind of quiet about in the lead up. But Ronan coming home and tell us a little bit about the weekend as we take our 15-minute qualifying.
Yeah, Ronan Doherty wanted things to be kept nice and quiet. He wanted to rock up to Mondello Park on Friday morning and blow everyone out of the water from the first green light and testing. And he did that. He did exactly that. He got pole position for both races, won all 3 races of the weekend, the 2 championship races, and then the non-championship Leinster Trophy. Of course, he's not competing in the championship, so it didn't actually really matter what he did in the Saturday. It was just confidence building. But yeah, he won it outright. Great start at the start of the Leinster Trophy race, and then just drove on to win. I think it was about 11 seconds or something he took a by in the end. Was challenged initially by Tim Murray, but he picked up a jump start penalty, so Ronan was able to drive away. It was a fabulous achievement for Ronan. Of course, it could have been his 3rd time winning it. It's only his 1st with the way things have gone. He is sporting a Star Wars livery to showcase that, so any sort of legacy he built up potentially wiped away within 2 minutes and 40 seconds upon his racing return. But Ronan was delighted. He likes to play things cool. He likes to be Mr. Composed at all times, but there was definitely some emotion shown in Mondello on Sunday evening, and I think the whole paddock was delighted for Ronan.
Yeah, and look at Ronan is obviously very much a regular here, very much a regular on the track circuit, on the ICCR circuit as well. And the boy from Dunloy is certainly cementing his on-track, as you say, racing legacy. I just had a quick look to see if this was an inside joke, but this is being raced by 157 people currently, Ronan's livery. Be created by Brendan M on Trading Paints.
Oh no, this isn't an inside joke. This is just Ronan. This is truly who he is. He's allowed to express himself now that he's won the
Ronan and 156 others. That's an interesting way of looking at it, Evan. But yeah, he and 156 others. So maybe it's just us. Maybe we don't get on the joke. Anyway, the 2 boys are together. And the 88 of Dylan McClement's top of the timing table at the moment. Let's give you a quick rundown on what you can expect this evening from us. It never changes, but we remind you all the time anyway. As we said, we've made the graphics, so we're going to use it. So it is a 15-minute qualifying, as we said, with a 10-minute race, the grid set by qualifying, then a 15-minute race with the grid set by race 1, and a 20-minute affair, reverse 8 from race 2, drive-throughs at 15, DQ at 20x. It is something that is going to be very important this evening in terms of desperately trying to, I suppose, get consistent times. We're having such a close battle. The likes of Conor Melia, who has yet to set a time, will need to set a very fast time, Evan, and will need to be in and up with those guys at the front of the pack, because obviously we have drop rounds coming into it, but you don't really want to use your drop round on a dry, very wide Grand Prix circuit when there's so much more trickiness to come. And particularly with the last race happening at Bathurst, I think a lot of these guys are keeping half an eye on that as a potential drop round.
Yeah, you want to use your drop round on the night when whatever higher power you believe in decides that he hates you all of a sudden, not when just because you were slow. So that's what Conor Melia doesn't want to do. Conor's also coming into this one on a big run of form as well. He wrapped up the Formula V B Championship, so another big achievement for one of our RTA drivers racing in Formula V. Won the B Championship for SM Racing. It's their first title in a good few years, so Stephen and Christy were absolutely delighted, as was Conor. And Conor got to sign his first ever autograph as a driver at the weekend. A fan coming up and asking him for his signature. So he's won the championship and now he is a star of the paddock.
And have you had any more people come up to you, Evan, about your exploits? I know you mentioned it last week about your celebrity status, or 2 weeks ago. So anybody else come up to you about either your, fledgling broadcast career at Gantry TV, or indeed your well-established advertising career with another kitchen company whose name I won't mention anymore?
I
No, I know
like,
what it
I'm
is.
not.
Like Ronan's telling me I've forgotten it, but I actually know what it is because I saw a sign for it today. And whenever I see a sign for that brand that begins with H and ends in outends, I'll never disassociate that with Evan. But yeah, any more?
I'm not actually. Like, I'm not even messing with you. I was stood on Friday talking to Dylan McClements, and one of our customers came up and said hello. So yeah, that was very
that wasn't the
embarrassing.
customer that commented saying they let fellas on work experience do anything these days. No,
That was very funny though. Fair play to whoever that was. That was a good one.
My work experience, right? And if anybody does want to come up to me at the paddock in Mandela, well, you can't because I never go.
Sorry, I just want to say, by the way, I wasn't joking about Conor. He genuinely signed an autograph this weekend.
No, you're not. I'm
that I know, like, we make a lot of jokes just to the viewers watching at home, that he genuinely signed it.
And like, were people commenting, like, did they want to come from get a photo? Oh, Jesus, I'll start that again. Did they want to come and get an autograph because of Conor, or did they just want to see the mustache?
No, it was a person who messaged him asking could he come meet him in the Formula V paddock, and then asked for an autograph.
Conor getting all those Instagram followers. Maybe we should be posting more on Instagram. Evan. I don't know.
I mean, I don't blame them. I would want a Conor Melia autograph.
Oh, why did you ask him for one?
I'm mucking up the courage slowly.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, 7.5 minutes, or just under 8 minutes of qualifying here, so we're just over halfway. And qualifying probably more important here, more so than anywhere else. There are going to be overtaking opportunities, but in saying that, it is one of those tracks that look, these guys know, a lot of these guys know so well that it's very, very hard to see them making any great mistakes. And also, given the width of the circuit, it's very hard to really see the sort of accidents that we, you might otherwise see on some smaller circuits. So these guys really do have to get their act in order in terms of making sure that they get a good qualifying here. It would be good to do an onboard just to have a look at what exact track layout we do have, because as you were saying, Evan, you felt like they were the international layout, but I'm trying to see now. They're coming into the pits.
Right, it's pits, turning off at turn 4, so you don't go into the arena section and down the Wellington Straight.
I think that is Silverstone National, isn't it?
No,
Silverstone. So you don't go into the arena and go down the Wellington Straight.
Yeah, so we're on board with Jordan. Well, we were on board with Jordan. Oh, Jordan is on a controller, we're hearing, hence why we're not going on board with Jordan. Let's have a look at Conor. No, Conor Melia's in the grass. Peter McCann is going slow here. Sean McGoldrick. Nice trusty soul, Sean McGoldrick. So into the final chicane then, and round through the final corner. We are using the real-life start-finish straight for the full layout. This one, at least on racingcircuits.info, is called the international layout. I don't know, it probably has a slang name for it. So down the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight in towards Abbey of turn number 1. And then you pin it through here, down through turn number 2. Be careful of the cars coming out of the pit lane. Use all that curb on the left-hand side. You're looking for the start of this curb in towards the right-hander. Now, usually a Formula 1 car would flick to the left here. You're only at a slight glance to the left as you head down towards what would be the exit of Chapel curve from Maggots, Beckett's and Chapel. So you flick in for the right-hander, you use all of that exit, now you're onto the hanger straight, heading down towards Copse. So this is the 770 metre hanger straight, slightly shortened. down towards one of probably the best overtaking zone of tonight's layout, in through the right-hander, and it is a very short variation of Silverstone, probably shorter than the national layout in terms of lap time, probably about the same in terms of distance. So in through Stowe and down towards the Vale chicane and club, and you would be able to go for a dive here if you were going slightly quicker than Sean McGoldrick is, but he has just backed off and waiting to go for a next lap. In through where we started the lap, and that is the layout we're running this evening. If you ever played the Formula 1 game, it featured on that for quite some time. Again, no idea why, because this layout is rarely used.
Yeah, and it's kind of like I don't know. I feel like just something off-putting about the way they've reconfigured Silverstone. It's like, I don't know, going through Cops as a first corner seemed more. I don't know. There's just something nostalgic about it. I suppose it's like anything, you change something and automatically people think the old one is better. But I just
okay,
I don't know.
Grandpa, let's get you back to bed.
Old man shouts at cloud. Right. Speaking of old men who know lots of things, thanks to both Kevin Joyce and Johnny Hollywood for joining us in the chat. And Kevin, and actually it was Geraldine McClemens, mother of both Sean and Dylan. Thank you very much to her, who's already made a larger contribution to Irish motorsport than any of the three of us combined. She says that Dylan is racing with a sprained wrist this evening. What? I'm just saying, that's a fair enough thing to say. That's like, yeah.
I wish that was the 1 second Ronan Hederman did suddenly appear on the stream, because I can't repeat it. I can't repeat what he said, otherwise I'm going to seem like a.
Right, Evan racing, or sorry, Dylan, should I say, racing with a sprained wrist this evening. And
Don't.
Johnny Hollywood saying Sean took a couple of wins on a sprained ankle last year, so
broken toe as well, as far as I know.
Yeah, absolutely. So why not? Dylan has a habit of trying to one up his brother, so why not do this time as well? Speaking of Evans, congratulations to Evan Walsh. I know it didn't quite work out the way he wanted exactly, but 2 podiums in the rookie class in the Fiestas again this weekend. Still in the hunt for the championship as we head towards the final couple of rounds. So nice one to Evan. He's in 12th at the moment. He hasn't really got going in this championship. I know he's in the top 10 of the standings, but hasn't. He's been involved in a couple of battles. I know himself and Peter McCann have been pretty close, and once again, they're very close in this qualifying. So they seem to be matching each other on pace, but just not quite far up the standings as I know Evan would usually like to be. No surprise that all of a sudden he starts going out with a Cork woman and he's faster on track. We just have a good effect that way. But also, I would say no coincidence that he's going out with a Cork woman and he's finishing second on the podium instead of first. But I'm going to get in there and make that joke before anybody else can. Yeah, right. And I know that Evan would make that joke himself, given he's from Tipperary. Right. Moving on. Not that long left in qualifying, and
beat you in an All-Ireland this year.
That's why I said that Evan would be the first to make that joke himself.
Oh yeah, sorry. No, never mind. Sorry, I'm too tired for this nonsense. Evan Walsh, though, great qualifying actually on Sunday, which I think was probably the most positive part of the weekend. He was running third up until the dying embers, so that was a new PB and a very wet qualifying in the Z-Tech. So fair play to Evan Walsh. He has one more run out in that Z-Tech, and as much as I think he's going to miss the racing, I don't think he's going to miss that car's straight line speed.
Yeah, it's I know. I would hazard a bet that his own runabout, or certainly the runabout that he had when we went to Mondale at that time, the Honda, was a little bit quicker than what he's racing in the Fiestas. But I suppose it gives you more time to think, so maybe that's not a bad thing. Right. Speaking of a man who has been particularly no, that's not the car I was looking for. I was actually looking for another red and yellow branded car, but I was looking more for the Teng Tools red and yellow branded car of Dermot Toomey, who's had a great championship thus far. He is qualifying in 8th position. So that's a nice one for Diarmid and Evan. It's been a great start of the season for him.
It has. I just want to explain them quickly to Ronan and Hederman, and the quickest way of doing it, sorry folks, is to do it on stream. Both Ollie and his dad Nicky are racing tonight, so whichever account is Nicky Meredith is actually Nicky Meredith, and whichever one is Ollie Meredith. Sorry, that was just quicker than typing. Dylan McClemens is on pole position, Ronan Doherty in second place. Actually, our first repeat pole sitter of the year, so Dylan has gone back to back from Mid-Ohio and Silverstone. That makes it 4 pole sitters out of 5 rounds. It is then Ronan Doherty, Dara Halley, Camto Chukwa, Robbie Callaghan, Sean McClemens, Brandon McGaughan, Dermot Toomey, Sean McGoldrick, Conor Melia, Peter McCann, Evan Walsh, Ross Wheatley, Simon Hutchings, Emmett Dempsey, David Prunty. Then it is either Ollie or Nicky, Jordan, again, Ollie or Nicky, Ronan, Nathan, Jamal Gandor, Phil Upson, Paul Sheehan, and no time, unfortunately, for Dave Collier.
Yeah, that's a real disappointing one for Collier, who's in the hunt for the B Championship. So he has a lot of time to make up with Emmett Dempsey currently in 15th position. So yeah, that's going to be a big one for him to try and make up as we... are we experiencing some technical issues or are we just not fully gridded? I'm not sure.
I don't think we're fully gridded. We're missing Dara Halley by the looks of things. He's not there in his 3rd grid slot. I'm just looking at the timing screen.
Our overlay.
We are missing Dave Collier as well. So 2 not gridded. We will wait for Dara to spawn back into the world once again and see are we going to get a full car field, a 25 car field, which is a good entry actually.
Yeah, I'm still waiting for... Oh, there it is.
Just there's is Dara going to actually make the grid? I'm not sure he's going to even grid for this one.
Which is going to be disappointing for Dara Halley. Not sure exactly what's happened there, but Jordan, where's Jordan Kelly on this list? 18th in a controller. Fair play to Jordan as we get ready for the opening race.
Yeah, Jordan Kelly, 18th position, which is very impressive on the controller as Dylan McClemens gets us underway here in Silverstone. And it was a good start for Robbie Callaghan as well, good start for Camto Chukwa, I should say, who of course had a clean look with no Dara Halley in front to battle with. Dylan McClemens leads into the first corner. Ronan Doherty in second. Robbie Callaghan and Camto Chukwa side by side with Sean McClemens looking to get into the mix as well. And you can see Brandon McGaughan looking to sneak up the inside, but all sailed side by side. McClemens ahead of Chukwa. 2 spots gained for Callaghan and McClemens on the race start. Big starts across the field. Melia, McCann, Hutchings, all up positions as well.
Yeah, some big one for Conor Melia as well, because obviously in the fight for this championship, he's Dylan McClemens and Ronan Doherty, who are currently bump drafting down the hanger straight, and Melia is in 8th position, so he's a lot of work to be doing to try and catch up with the 2 boys from Antrim. Now Dermot Toomey in 8th position. He's going to go for a move on Melia down the inside. Speaking of moves, there's Camto Chukwa. He's falling behind quite a bit. He's now just been overtaken by Brandon McGaughan. He's down 2 places as we go through the final few corners of this opening lap. Oh, contact there. Big contact between McGaughan and Chukwa as McGaughan gets the elbows out. And yeah, it is like Peter against the chicken. But oh no, that's a big slide. That's Peter McCann who goes up on the sausage curb and turns around. Manages not to take any... Oh, well. Manages not to take anybody out, he says. And yeah, I think Simon Hutchings would have something to say about that.
Yeah, unfortunately for Simon Hutchings, that's actually a continuation of his current form here at Silverstone. Simon Hutchings' last real-life race was a Mazda MX-5 here in 2019 when he DNF'd from 2 of the 3 races. Unfortunately, it's 1 of the 3 so far here this evening in RTA, and he'll be looking for a stronger result in heat number 2 and heat number 3. I'm sure he'll be very thankful to Peter McCann for that one, but Peter got all out of shape, was side by side with his fellow VRA teammate Evan Walsh. Unfortunately, 3 into 1 does not go. Dylan McClemens surviving in the race lead despite Ronan Doherty having a very good toe up the hanger straight by the looks of things. Might be looking to challenge in towards the Vale chicane. I imagine Dylan and Ronan are going to go battling a lot more intensely than Sean and Dylan did last week.
Yeah, I suspect so, as Robbie Callan tries to get involved, and he's a face full of Riz, but he's not gonna want to make sure he said that's the right way around. Because Ronan Doherty ahead of him. But Ronan, I suppose the thing about Ronan and Dylan is that Ronan, if he makes a move in the wrong place, he'll just completely bog down in the corners. So you don't really want to make a move in the last section there, and then find you get pinned on the long straight. So it's about a matter of timing as well for Ronan Darty. He still has 7 minutes left as well. So as Dara Halley says, he lagged out at race start, and unfortunately that's why he wasn't able to make the grid.
Very disappointing for Dara Halley, who has been running strong in this season, of course. And then disappointing that he won't be able to make an appearance here in heat number 1. But I'm sure he'll be back for 2 and 3. We are 3 minutes and 20 seconds into this one. Dylan McClement's in the race lead with Ronan Doherty in second place. We actually have a black flag for Paul Sheehan, who's down in 20th. We've had some trouble for Ross Wheatley and Nicky Meredith as well, who are down in 22nd and 23rd. But overall, your top 10, McClements, Doherty, Callahan, McClements, McGohan, Chukwuett, Amelia, McGoldrick, and then Evan Walsh and Dermot Toomey. Biggest gainer once again. He does this quite a lot. Nathan Sweeney up 6.
Yeah, Emma, she's just, I could see it happening a mile away. No, big accident. You can see it happening. I was just about to say that Emma looked a little bit unsure, and they hadn't quite committed to taking the inside line. And I felt like in that position, she was always putting Ollie Meredith at risk, and so it turned out. Unfortunately, Nathan Sweeney ended up in the middle of that as well, having arrived on the scene of an accident he did not know he was going to be a part of. And behind them now, Ollie Meredith and David Prunty. Dylan McClellan still holding off Ronan Doherty. Going back to that Peter McCann incident, I don't know when we get an opportunity to have a look at a replay before the end of this race, because obviously there's plenty going on live, so we don't want to miss that action. It was an unusual one because it looked like Peter had it together, as Ronan looks like he's going to try and make a move here, or Evan, I think.
Yep, here comes Ronan Doherty looking to dive it down the inside of Dylan McClements, and that one looks easy for Doherty, who gets a bit of a slide on through there, but hangs it through the corner. Ronan's already in the race lead. Dylan McClements down to second. Evan Walsh and Teng Tool sponsor Dermot Toomey going side by side. Toomey will now be on the outside line, but that'll swiftly become the inside if Evan Walsh allows him to. Walsh looks to hit his apex first and just get in front for the second part of the chicane. Does that nicely, defends the position in ninth. Now here we go once again. It's Ollie Meredith, Emma Dempsey and Nathan Sweeney. They made contact once, but they managed to make it through a second time as we have bumperless MX-5s rounding through here in the form of Dempsey and Sweeney.
Yeah, Emma's radiator on show, but it's certainly not affecting her ability to handle the car, which is a great thing for our B Championship second place. And as we said earlier, Emma, with Dave Collier starting so far down the back, it's a great opportunity for her to make up some serious points on Collier. I'm just trying to see where he is on the list now. I actually can't see his name, Dave Collier, so I don't know, is he caught up on something, because he looked like he was involved there, but now he's gone all the way back down to 24th. So Dave Collier must have had an issue there.
It didn't grid.
I don't know, is it? But I did see him on screen at some point making up positions, so I'm not sure exactly what happened to him. Brandon McCann now, another big bump between himself and Sean McClements, and he turns. That's a pit maneuver there from McCann on McClements, and they may share. They may both be the son of somebody, but neither of them are particularly good bedfellows at the moment, because that was a very just a lot of sloppy stuff going on. I mean, the Emma Dempsey one is sloppy as well. Oh, and look at that between McGoldrick clipping Simon Hutchings, who's a lapped car. And here's Conor Melia. He has to be careful here, Melia, because McGowan's been pretty aggressive. That's Emma Dempsey. And Emma really not capitalising on this opportunity, Evan, it must be said.
Yeah, very disappointing for Emma, who's not going to get many big points over Dave Collier in this one. And Brandon McGowan side by side with Conor Melia. There's a little clip there as well. That invites Sean McGoldrick to follow through. And Conor Melia will be disappointed with that one, down to 7th position. Sean McClements will be very disappointed with that one after his spin and contact made with Brandon McGowan. But it is still Doherty, Dylan McClements, Campbell Chukwuett, Brandon McGowan, your top 5. But Brandon McGowan is involved in the wars in this one, just in front of Sean McGoldrick now, heading in towards Stowe. McGoldrick plays it cautious, and that's probably the correct decision.
Yeah, just having a look there at the movers and shakers, there's only one person that's down a position since the beginning of the race. That is Dylan McClements in second position. Other than that, you've Ronan Doherty up 1, Robbie Callan up 2, Campbell Chukwuett is as where he started, Brandon McGowan's up 2, Sean McGoldrick's up 3, Conor Melia's up 3, and Evan Walsh is up 4. And then a lot of the middle of the grid as well, up some serious places. Jamal Gandor up 6 places, Ollie Meredith up Sorry, Jamal is up 8 places. Ollie Meredith and Jordan Kelly, once again, I remind you, racing in a controller, up 6 places. So it's interesting. A lot of movers, really, people moving forward in this race, despite a lot of the accidents that we've seen.
Yeah, Jordan Kelly racing on a controller. It has plenty of experience from the weekend racing disadvantaged with the state of that engine in the back of his V. But look, you could just see how chaotic things can get. Jordan is right. Like, look at him, but that's disgusting. Like, you could just see with the chaos that we've had, Jordan up to 12th despite not being able to properly turn a lap. Goes to show how messed up this could become come heat number 3. But anyways, here's Brandon McGaughan and Sean McGoldrick side by side, and Conor Mealy's got to look to stick the nose in this one as well, but they all just remain single file for now. McGaughan once again out of shape on the exit of Stowe, and Sean McGoldrick is now on the outside. He'll have one more lap to do something about this. This is Dylan McClements and Robbie Callaghan, and Callaghan lights up the rears and spins onto the grass. Lucky there was no one following through, and Brandon McGaughan has spun round as well. I wonder if there was a contact between himself and McGoldrick. McGaughan facing the wrong way.
Yeah, the number 69 car going for it one too many times, I think it's fair to say, and that car's been definitely through the wars. Let's have a look on the replay to see exactly what happened. But McCann's certainly been very aggressive going into that final section, so it was only a matter of time before we got caught out on it. Let's have a look there. It's with himself and Sean McGoldrick, Conor Mealy as well. Oh, and actually, to McCann's credit, it looks like Mealy got a touch from behind from either Peter McCann or Evan Walsh, and that sent him kind of bowling ball style into, yep, that's a big touch from the number 12 car. That is number 12, that's Evan. So Evan going into Conor Mealy, who goes into Brandon McCann, and obviously the stewards will be getting a report of Conor Mealy, but really, Evan, there's nothing that Mealy could have done there.
No, nothing Mealy could have done, and this will be the last lap of the race here. Might have been called a little bit early, but the checkered flag is out. Ronan Doherty is going to take his 4th win since Saturday's first in RTA this evening, and it is his first win since Donington Park a couple of weeks ago. Dylan McClements in 2nd, Camto Chukwa comes home in 3rd, Sean McGoldrick in 4th, Conor Mealy 5th, Robbie Callaghan in 6th, and it is Evan Walsh. Brandon McGaughan after that moment fell down to 12th.
Yeah, it's definitely a very, very disappointing one for Brandon. Disappointing too for Conor Mealy. Even though he finished 5th in the end, Conor, he ended up getting up a few places. But speaking of disappointment, I was just getting to it. Ronan Hederman, you read my mind. This woman, Emma Dempsey. Dave Collier has come in to say that his PC died. So when you say evenings that the great one above conspires against you, that's certainly one of those for Dave Collier this evening. Emma has a real opportunity to put pressure on him. Just hasn't converted thus far. She will need a really good second race and then to try and push forward as well to get a top 10 finish in the final race if she can. But yeah, Ronan Doherty, once again, it's been a great week for Ronan, and he's keeping it rolling here at the Silver of Stone.
Ronan Doherty, your race winner. Dylan McClements in 2nd, Camto Chukwa in 3rd, Sean McGoldrick, Conor Mealy, Robbie Callaghan, Evan Walsh, Sean McClements, Peter McCann and Dermot Toomey round out your top 10. Then it was Jordan Kelly and Brandon McGaughan in 12th ahead of Ollie Meredith, David Prunty, Phil Upson, Ronan Duffy, Emma Dempsey, Jamal Gandor, Nathan Sweeney and Simon Hutchings rounding us out in 20th place. And it was Ross Weekly, Nicky Meredith, Paul Sheehan, Dara Halley and unfortunately Dave Collier. No feature from Halley or Collier in that one. We suspect Collier is gone for the remainder of the evening. Hopefully we get an appearance from Dara Halley.
Yeah, it would be great to see Dara Halley, and it would be hopefully great to see Dave if he is able to rejoin, but he's not going to have much chance as we get going again for race number 2. Ronan Doherty on pole once again.
Yep, no rest for the wicket, and the red lights are on once again here in Silverstone. It's the 2 teammates on the front row. Conor Mealy could really do it a good start here, as great launch for Dylan McClements off the line as we go racing here in Silverstone. Disappointing start for Camto Chukwa, who's under pressure from Sean McGoldrick in towards the first right-hand sweep of Abbey and in through the left-hander of Farm. Prepare your brakes for the first real braking zone of this Silverstone circuit. Who's going to be bravest on them? Sean McGoldrick is, as the front dips down as he slams on the stop pedal and is able to keep it on the inside. Camto Chukwa, though, just going to have to try and defend here. Not going to be able to. Sean McGoldrick into 3rd place.
Yeah, one of these great things about these MX-5 machines is you can see so clearly how the weight is transferred. As Jordan Kelly is rolling back a little bit, so is Ronan Duffy. Dara Halley has rejoined us, thankfully. He's in 24th, but at least he is on the grid, as Sean McClements might make a move on Conor Melia now as we head down the Hanger Straight.
Yeah, Sean McClements, who won his first race last week since the LMP2 Championship 4 seasons ago, down the inside of Conor Melia. And look at the slowdowns picked up through Stowe. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 here. And Sean McClements still side by side with Evan Walsh. Toomey side by side with McCann. And McClements using all of that. Kerm on the outside. He's going to try sweep round the outside of the Clonmel man. Pulls it off. Beauty of a move. And he's up to 6th place. But Evan Walsh will still be attacking. And in towards turn number 1. Conor Melia feels hard done by. I wonder, has he picked up some damage or something? He's down 3 positions on the opening lap.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what happened to Conor Melia, but he's certainly down. Peter McCann is down as well. I think he's had some issues, as is Diarmuid Toomey. There's plenty of moving and shake between those two. Toomey dropping more positions, so hasn't been a good evening for the Teng Tool sponsored number 13 machine. He's losing out here in this battle in midfield, and once you start to lose places, you drop down a huge amount. And Jordan Kelly, unfortunately, 18 doesn't go into 17. And Emma, unfortunately, then clipped by Ronan Duffy on the way through, and then takes out number 9. That is Paul Sheehan for good measure. And that is really, it's poor all around, but poor from Emma, particularly rejoining there on more than one occasion, perpendicular to the track, while there are the other drivers coming through. Not particularly good, and Emma is in the pits with a meatball. Unfortunately, Ronan Duffy now is in the pits. Paul Sheehan managing to keep going. But yeah, all of that caused by Jordan Kelly with his controller. Not sure whether it is entirely Jordan's fault, but he was certainly at the scene of the accident when it happened. Now look at this, line and stern from 4th all the way down to 5th. We see Darty, McClements, McGoldrick, Callahan and Chukwe going through the first corner. It is going to be a really tight one here. 15 minutes left in this race, but you'd swear it was on the last lap the way some people are driving this, Evan, despite the fact that the Silverstone circuit does offer opportunities.
Yeah, a bit of sloppiness about the place tonight, unfortunately, in that instant. A real showcase of that, but the battle for the top 5 is being clean. And that is what we are looking at now, 3 minutes and 10 seconds into this longer formatted B main heat. That's what you have, plenty of time and plenty of overtaking opportunities. And you can just see the two teammates working together. Ronan Doherty getting a bit of a bump draft from Dylan McClements behind. And Dylan will try to pull away with his teammate. They're always teammates until it comes to the very last laps. And that is the good dynamic that has built almost Team Didier dominance in RTA across various different seasons. Speaking of that team, Sean McClements down the inside of Evan Walsh, and he is able to get in front. And that is a comfortable overtake now for Sean. Ollie Meredith in 9th position in the Lightning McQueen livery, challenging Peter McCann, and just in front of Diarmuid Toomey. Ollie having a strong second heat here in Silverstone. As you two might know a little bit more than I do, is this the first ever father-son duo to race in RTA?
Not sure, actually. That's a very good question. Obviously, we've had a good few of the Dempseys rolling through different various things, but never at the same time. That's a very good question. I'm not sure if there are any fault. Nothing that I can think of off the top of my head. No, I think this is the first.
There certainly hasn't been since I was here. Maybe back in the previous RTA. I can't remember the name of the days. But oh, look at this. That is IDMC. That is, who's that dropping down the grid? Is that a back marker? It might be. I think they've all just had to Mika Hakkinen their way around a back marker. That's going to invite Diarmuid Toomey into a move. And that is him past Ollie Meredith. Or is that Meredith past Toomey? Sorry, other way around. So Ollie Meredith is past Diarmuid Toomey. And Conor Melia definitely has some damage because he's just been overtaken by all three.
Yeah, I think Melia seems to be struggling here big time. All right. Speaking of family connections, I was going to make this point. Not that I think Emma will thank me for it, but it's funny. Like, you talked about the Team DDR dominance and their ability to kind of pick their moments and to be patient and, you know, not to throw their you know, not to go, oh, that's poor from Robbie Callahan and Sean McGoldrick. I must be said. That is not great. But yeah, it is, you know, you talked about the kind of ability not to go all in at any one time. And I actually think that we spoke on a previous IDMC about Keith's Dempsey's and his, just the fact that he couldn't stay out of trouble enough to score himself consistent points in the championship. And actually Emma suffers from the same problem. Like, Emma is obviously very quick in these cars, but she just can't stay out of trouble for one reason or another. And like, even there, the accident that she was involved in, which, look, it probably wasn't her fault, but then compounds that by rejoining unsafely, and then all of a sudden she's a meatball, and then all of a sudden she's out of the race. You know, and it was the same with the last race, just little mistakes compounding themselves into what ultimately ends up into costing quite a few points. So, you know, I think really Emma has a great chance at this B Championship. I'm sure it's something that she'd love to win, but in order to do that, she just needs to finish more consistently, and she needs to really make staying out of trouble the priority. Like, you need to race this series. If you're in the B Championship, you almost need to race this series like you're in the rookies. It's all about safety rating and just staying out of the way of accidents, because ultimately there is a natural...
Oh, Conor Amelia.
It's a big move from Amelia. He's not done yet, lads. He's up into 10th position, despite whatever damage we might think he has. But yeah, I just think for Emma, like, it on the B Championship thing, like, Dave was out this evening. Great opportunity to score some real meaningful points, but unfortunately now she's essentially thrown away the first two races, which means that she's going to be under massive pressure now to try and get a final one. As Ronan and Campto Chukra battle up the front, Dylan McClements will be happy to see that. That takes a bit of pressure off him. Will Campto go for a move down the inside here now, Evan? Can't.
Yeah, he's
on the
looking.
outside.
He is on the outside, and outside will become inside eventually. He's going to keep the nose in. Oh, he is. That could get close. Ronan Doherty gives him a wide berth, and rightly so, leaves him the space. And he will be able to remain in front. That's compromised Campto's run, as Robbie Callaghan, who was involved in contact with Sean McGoldrick just a handful of laps ago, is tucked into the Racing Prodigy liveried Campto Chukwa. And he will look to try and attack, maybe on the brakes in towards turn number 3. He's going to have to be brave if he wants it. No, he will just stick behind for the time being. Robbie Callaghan, who's had a great season, won, of course, in Lime Rock, and is looking to keep himself up in the championship charge. Unfortunately, it's not been a great evening for one of our championship challengers in the form of Conor Amelia, but that was a lovely move down the inside, got back up to 10th place, and look, there could still be a chance he gets on the reverse grid.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely, and that would be a great opportunity for Conor, but I do think that even still he's losing a huge amount of ground now, because even if he finishes top, it's likely that the likes of Ronan and Dylan aren't going to be that far off him, but he's finished quite a bit behind them, so I think it's going to be too much ground for him to make up. But we shall see as Dermot Toomey goes for a move down the inside here at Stowe Corner. It is one of my favourite corners, I think it's fair to say, on the entirety of the F1 circuit. It is I think it's a fantastic corner as we head down towards Vale and Club, but Stowe, it's just off camber and it's late apex, and it just invites moves down the inside, and Toomey getting it done in this occasion. Now Dylan McClements still leading here. It's been a good evening for Dylan. He won the finished second in the opening race. Now he's into first and looking fairly comfortable, so these two guys are matching each other race for race. But Campto Chukwa has been quick here, and he's not afraid to get stuck in as well, Evan, so he'll certainly have his eye on trying to slip down the inside and break up this DDR dominance up the front.
Yeah, Dylan McClements, who has a lot of good sim racing history around Silverstone. I can't remember if we touched on it last week or not, but he won a race here at the National Esports Centre down in your neck of the woods, Kevin, in Cork, and that won him a trip to the Williams Racing Factory. So Silverstone has been nice to him the last few weeks, and a win here on RTA will go a long way of keeping his foot in the fight for a third RTA championship. But Ronan Doherty all over the wing mirrors of the number 88, not the number 46 like he has on the bottom of the car. They're going to keep it close until maybe the last lap and then go battling for it. But look, Ronan and Dylan are smart enough to know that battling now might only cause them to fall down the order.
Yeah, and it could cost them both, you know, like things are so close and it's all about getting a run here. You have so many long straights on this international layout, so I mean it is really about just, you know, picking your time. I suspect perhaps in Stowe on the last lap, if Ronan Doherty gets enough of a toe down the hanger straight. He might go for a move down the inside, at which point it may be too late for anybody to respond. But if the two of them go battling here and they both get involved, then the door is only going to open for Campto with only 4 minutes left. There's not a huge amount of time then to track him down. So Campto will be looking on earnestly. He will be hoping that Ronan does go for a move at some stage. But I think the two Team DDR lads know each other well enough to know that there's no point in battling now, no point in doing anything silly. Speaking of a man who is doing well in the championship and could very well consolidate his place here if things go right in the last couple of laps, that's the man you look in the background. That's Diarmuid Toomey. He's in 9th position at the moment. Came into the championship in 3rd, I'm going to say, though I could be wrong there. 4th, sorry. So came into the championship 4th, did Diarmuid Toomey, but another place here, and I think he's well able to hold on to that lead if he gets it, ahead of some of those other drivers. So Sean McGoldrick currently battling Peter McCann for that 7th position. McCann was very close to Evan Walsh in the practice and qualifying, but quite a bit of distance between them now. McCann's obviously had that incident in through the final corner on the sausage curb that saw him take out Simon Hutchings, who himself is up to 13th, so good running there from the Welshman to get back in amongst it, as Diarmuid Toomey runs very wide there, and he's going to try and get a run down Sean McGoldrick, and I suspect that time will be ticking for Diarmuid Toomey, so if he's going to make a move, it's going to be soon. Let's see what happens here between these three, because I suspect that somebody's going to pull out. There we see two of them pull out, and then pulling back in is Diarmuid Toomey. Let's see what happens here, Evan.
Let's see what happens. Toomey going right round the outside of Simon Hutchings. He's not going to pull that one off in a month of Sundays. Evan Walsh running wide through the corner. And that is going to allow Sean McGoldrick down the inside. Not Simon Hutchings, apologies. Is there going to be a lunge from someone here? There is going to be a lunge from, it's actually Peter McCann. So that was two names wrong. A real good track record. Brandon McGohan now side by side with Diarmuid Toomey. And this is going to get dodgy side by side for the final corner. We've seen contact between McGohan and a few tonight. That's as close as you can get without touching. Very brave from Diarmuid Toomey, who's a rejuvenated man here in the Mazdas. McGohan still on the inside on the back of a fabulous win here at this Silverstone circuit on his debut in LMP4s, or not his debut, but a debut in a new team in LMP4s. Brave from both. Conor Melia's going to sweep round the outside now as well. Excellent racing between the three.
Yeah, super stuff there for Diarmuid, but unfortunately for Diarmuid Toomey, he finds himself now way back in 11th position, so he was battling for 8th there just a moment ago, but sees Brandon McGohan and Conor Melia overtake him. Now he's on the back foot. Jordan Kelly still running in 15th with the controller again, I do remind you, and quite a bit ahead of Nicky Meredith, so the Donegal native should be able to hold on to that one. Here is McGoldrick chasing down Peter McCann, who runs slightly wide there, McCann, but manages to gather himself together as we head into this final section. McGoldrick stays on the outside, stays on the racing line, as does Brandon McGohan and Conor Melia behind him as we pass the line for what I suspect will be the final time in this second race. Of course, same amount of points for all of these races. If you don't know, I'm sure you do at this point. But these guys are fighting nip and tuck for every single one of them. And Ronan Doherty, having taken the opening race, will certainly be looking for a second race win in a row, but he's going to be followed by Campto Chukwe and indeed Robbie Callahan, who was involved in an incident earlier on in this race. That's why he has that slight damage on the front of his MX-5, as now we see Dylan McClements holding inside. He knows what's happening here. He's going to force Ronan Doherty to the outside, but of course, if Doherty can stick in it through Stowe, that means he will have the inside going into Vale.
Yes, side by side through the final sector of Silverstone. They have done it before, these two. Dylan McClements just about edges in front, but Ronan Doherty will be looking to keep it on the outside. The two cousins, the two teammates fighting it out for a win in the final 10 seconds of this one. Who's going to be bravest on the brakes? Dylan McClements brakes later, but Ronan Doherty has the crucial line. McClements maybe with the smart choice to back out, but is Campto Chukwe going to be able to get on the inside? It's 2 from 2 for Doherty. Dylan McClements takes the win. No, he doesn't. He takes second. He beats Campto Chukwe. Robbie Callahan comes home in 4th. Evan Walsh in 5th, Sean then in 6th. And oh, look at this, we're 3 wide once again. It is McGoldrick and McGohan side by side. Sean McGoldrick just about beats Brandon McGohan.
That finish line was earlier down the straight because McGahan almost pit manoeuvred Peter McCann over the line as Jordan Kelly finishes in 15th position. Superb racing from those guys all the way through. Chapeau to all of those guys. Peter McCann, Sean McGoldrick, Brandon McGahan, Conor Mealy and Diarmuid Toomey giving us some superb racing in this second race. But I thought that Campto Chukwa might have been just pipped to the line by Robbie Callahan because Chukwa went into the back of Dylan McClements with all that battling going on. But as it stands, it was Chukwa who passed over in third position. So once again, the Team DDR boys up on top. And once again, we're going to have an opportunity to speak to them.
Yes, we will. Let's run you through your full results first. It is Ronan Doherty who takes the win. That is becoming a regular saying in Ireland lately. Bill McClemens in second, Campto Chukwa in third. Then it was Robbie Callahan in fourth, ahead of Evan Walsh in fifth. Sean McClemens in sixth, then Peter McCann in seventh. And then it was Sean McGoldrick in eighth. Brandon McGahan in ninth, whose achievements I didn't give enough limelight by muddling it up. He made his debut for Team Virage in the Leisure European Series and took 2 wins here at Silverstone at the weekend, ahead of new Formula VP champion Conor Mealy in 10th. And it was Diarmuid Toomey, Ollie Meredith, Simon Hutchings, Nathan Sweeney, Jordan Kelly, Nicky Meredith, Ross Wheatley, Phillipson, Ronan Duffy, Paul Sheehan, and then behind Paul Sheehan we have Dave Collier and unfortunately Dara Halley, who we won't be seeing tonight by the looks of things. Let's hear from your 2-time race winner tonight, Ronan Doherty. Ronan, congratulations, 2 from 2 so far. Is it going to be the second time in 3 or 4 days you can go free from free?
Well, I'm gonna try. But you know yourself. Third race, anything can happen.
Good teamwork between yourself and Dylan. Is it safe to say that was intentional?
Yeah, we were just trying to. It's very hard to break the two, but we were just trying to make it so we wouldn't have to defend from the guys behind with the bump draft, and we nearly had it done at some point, and I made a little mistake and got slowed down. But yeah, no, look, the teamwork definitely helps.
Yourself and Dylan and then Canto and Robbie have been fairly away at the front, but behind it's been quite messy when going for moves and battles. Of course, you now have to start 8th. Talk us through your approach going into the third race tonight.
Just like all of them, I mean, I guess sometimes maybe I'm too ambitious in the third race and I should take my points, but trying to get the moves done cleanly. I mean, you've seen with me and Dylan there in both races, like you can race cleanly if you have 2 drivers that are giving each other the right amount of room. So yeah.
Ronan Doherty, best of luck for heat number 3, and all going well, we'll speak to you again.
Hopefully so.
So now it is our second place driver, Dylan McClements with Kevin.
Dylan, no surprise to be joining or to be speaking to you again. Tell me first of all, how are you feeling? Because I know that you've picked up a bit of an injury this week.
Yeah, well, I would have both football ones I picked up. I fell on my wrist, but it was only I thought I was gonna not be able to race, but I jumped on the sim. Everything seemed all right, but I think if I go to spin or anything and my hand flies back, it'll be sore enough. But it seems to make me a bit faster. I don't know how, but yeah, feels good.
Have you had to turn down the force feedback on that just to make it a little bit easier for yourself?
Nah, not even. There's not much really filling in these cars, which is good until you go to spin. But nah, I haven't changed anything. So I mean, it felt alright when I jumped on, so might as well keep it.
Look, second place. You obviously won the. You were a bit disappointed because obviously Ronan won the first one. You got yourself into a great position to win the second one, but it's very hard though around this track, isn't it? Especially coming down that hanger straight and through that final section. Like you can really go side by side all the way through. So if you get that toe down the hanger straight and you time it right, it's very hard to defend against it.
Yeah, I mean, the two was massive. Going that back straight. I didn't really get the best of runs out of it, and then running pulled him alongside me, and then he was smart enough to nearly chop my nose off the second part, the last corner. And then I wasn't gonna get it anyway. I had a bad exit compared to him because he was more lined up. But it was a good race, and hopefully I can aim for first in this last one.
Ronan just finally said he was, trying to balance kind of going for it and trying to accept the points that he's going to get in the final race. What's your tactic? Are you going to go all out to try and make up some points, or are you going to play it safe?
I mean, I'm gonna have to. I didn't really have the best start of the season, so I'm gonna just end it, but to an extent.
All right, looking forward to seeing that. Dylan, well done with a sprained wrist. 2 second place finishes is no mean feat at all. So congratulations, and no doubt we'll be speaking to you next week again.
Cheers, Gavin. See you later.
So that was Dylan McClements, and I don't know, are we joined by Camto Chukwe? We are joined by Camto Chukwe, who's going to have a chat with Evan Dalton.
Camto, congratulations back on the podium after missing out in mid-Ohio. How'd you find that second race?
A lot of luck was involved in it because I didn't make a single overtake in the first or second race. I just managed to get lucky with the drivers in front of me crashing. But like to get 2 third places after missing last week, I'm really happy with it. With a car I'm not really good at and a track that I really hate as well.
We've seen a lot of intense battling throughout the field. Is it all elbows out for a race 3 for yourself?
I'd say so, yeah. If I can make up places this time instead of getting lucky with incidents, then I'd be happy with that and hopefully get back on the podium on pure pace. But it might be a bit harder because I don't have the pace.
Speaking of the pace, Ronan and Dylan setting it tonight. What can you do to stop them?
Defend like a lion. That's what I can do now.
Best of luck for race number 3.
Thank you.
Right then, let's run you through your grid order. Sean McGoldrick starts on pole position. Alongside him is Peter McCann. It's then Sean McClements, Evan Walsh, Robbie Callahan, Camto Chukwe, Dylan McClements, Ronan Doherty, Brandon McGohan, Conor Melia, Dermot Toomey, and Ollie Meredith, who starts from 12th. 13th position is Welshman Simon Hutchings. Nathan Sweeney starts from 14th, and it is Jordan Kelly, Nicky Meredith, Ross Wheatley, Phil Upson, Ronan Duffy, Paul Sheehan, David Prunty, Emma Dempsey, Jamal Gandor, and hopefully Dara Halley in 24th. Kevin, I think this one's going to be pretty chaotic.
I mean, I suspect so. I mean, like Dylan is saying, he's going to send it as like, I suppose, measuredly. We'll have a lot of guys in this grid who are really, they're looking at this is round 5 now. They're running out of time in this championship to try and make a sort of an impact on it. One of those is Sean McGoldrick, so expect to see some fireworks as we get going here.
Right then, here we go. Sean McGoldrick and Peter McCann on the front row. And for the final time in Silverstone for the Mazda MX-5s, we go racing. And it's a good start for Robbie Callahan, who's immediately looking to challenge Evan Walsh for 4th position. But side by side, they are behind, not quite for the race lead. Sean McClements is on the inside of Peter McCann here. And himself and Evan Walsh have been at tethers the last few weeks. I wonder, will there be a bit of contact in towards turn number 3? Sean McClements dives down the inside, up to 2nd position, and that is a great overtake from him. It is Evan Walsh and Rob now side, with Dylan McClements looking to move up the order. Ronan Doherty actually losing a place, and Dylan McClements goes door to door with Callahan here, and look at McGohan sucking into that slipstream, looking for the move down towards Stowe.
Yeah, McGohan just arriving in from stage left to give Callahan a push when he needed it the most. And I thought those two might come together. Dylan McClements looked all very awkward because Robbie was a little bit squirrely coming out of that corner as McClements went down the inside, but he managed to make it work. Now, Evan Walsh and Peter McCann swapping places. They're going at it. No love lost between the VRA boys here as Evan Walsh, should I say. He had a bit of a mare in that corner earlier on, sending McGohan into the back of Emma Dempsey, I think. And once again, he's gone off in that Vale corner. So it's not been a good one for Evan Walsh this evening. However, Ronan Doherty's up one place thus far. Camto Chukwe was behind him. He hasn't been able to quite make the same progress that his cousin Dylan has done further up front. So pressure's on now for Ronan Doherty to get a move done. Robbie Callahan, I think, has a slowdown. He's fallen way back down the grid as he's going to try and make a move down the inside of Dermot Toomey, but he's just going to lay off a little bit. McGoldrick still leads in the 25 car, and behind him, Sean McClements pushing him very tight, but a big gap then between McClements and McCann. So Dylan McClements is going to put all kinds of pressure onto Peter McCann, but whether he can catch up to his older brother, that remains to be seen.
Yes, Sean McGoldrick and Sean McClements fighting, and Sean McGoldrick looking to end a winless drought. We have seen winless droughts ended before here in Silverstone in RTA. I was only talking to Kevin Joyce about his LMP2 one That happened a few seasons ago. It would be great if Sean McGoldrick could take the race victory, but it's going to be a long 17.5 minutes if he wants to take this one. It's the two Sean Max battling at it, spelled slightly different, but equally want this one just as much as it is. Peter McCann still in third. Your biggest movers and shakers, Dara Halley up 9 spots to 15th. Is it going to be a case of what could have been for Halley?
Oh, absolutely. I think we knew that from the beginning for Dara. Like, obviously, normally would be a top 10 runner, but then the issues that he's having have just made it too difficult for him. And fair play to him for sticking it out and giving it a go in the final race. He obviously knows this is going to be a drop round, but he's still going to take part and try and do the best he can, which is what you want to see in this one. Now, to make things even more confusing, if things weren't confusing enough, well, we've managed to change the names on the overlay to make it a bit easier for you. But these two boys are not only as Dara Halley, there you go, speaking of him, he's on the back of Nicky Meredith. These two boys are running the same name delivery, on the overlay. They're also running the same livery, which makes things particularly confusing for us. But thankfully, Ronan Hederman's got on it, and he's overrid the overlay. And we know which is which as they run 14th and it's 13th at the moment on track. Simon Hutchings and Dara Halley between the two. As we go 3 wide through Vale, that was never going to work. And Hutchings gets squeezed out there. He was on the inside. And Ollie Meredith squeezes through into 12th position. Absolutely fair game, in my opinion. 3 wide. It was always going to be somebody move out, but they all decided to put themselves in that position. So you can't be annoyed when you lose out.
Yeah, I totally agree. I don't see anything wrong with that, really, from Ollie Meredith. He unfortunately followed that infamous Senate quote, but it's worked out on this occasion for the son of the Meredith family. Nicky, unfortunately, not able to get past Simon. Let's have a look at this one. I wonder if we're getting on board for this one, potentially. If it is... no, sorry, this is actually something happening for our race leader. It's a swap for the race lead. So Sean McClemens taking the race lead. He's in front by about 2/3 of a second as of live. And it was a fairly straightforward Formula 1-esque overtake for Sean McClemens in towards Stowe. So the number 24 getting ahead, and the number 20...
Yes, indeed it is. 24 replaces 25 as 69 tries, what would I say, a suggestive move down the inside of that one, but just about gets away with it, and then almost clatters into our championship leader, Ronan Doherty, as well. It's all very tight for Brandon McCann. He's had an awful lot of instance, particularly in that opening race, but which eventually came to bite him in the backside, but he's back up to 4th position, so certainly has the pace. You saw that move earlier from Sean McClemens. He is holding on to that lead, but we talked about how long it would take for Dylan McClemens to catch up with his older brother. About 3 minutes was the answer to that, as the two of them were battling. That allowed Dylan to get back in, so the 88 now and the 24 catching up. I personally would love to see Dylan McClemens be 44 if Sean was 88, because younger brother, older brother, you know. But anyway, that's just a stupid thought.
Sean's number 24, so
yeah, but it's still not. There's no relation between 24 and.
If your aunt had balls, she'd be your uncle.
Yeah, let's not talk about that. Right. Dylan McClemens managing to get the move done on both Sean and Sean. One of whom is his brother, and he manages to squeeze through. As we were reeling from that interesting comment from Evan Dalton, we missed probably what was the most interesting overtake of the evening. What a great move from Dylan McClemens, and now Ronan Doherty tries to respond. Ronan, he almost gets a clip from Sean McGoldrick. Brandon McCann's on the outside. Ronan's going to try and do it down the inside here. This is all very tight. Can they get it done? Just about. That's a great move from Ronan Doherty, forcing the issue and making his way onto the podium places.
This is very sketchy. This is very sketchy as McGahan clips McGoldrick. McCann trying to follow through. We have McGahan, McCann, McClemens, and McClemens fighting. Makes our lives horribly difficult, but it's a brilliant, brilliant battle. And Sean McGoldrick just being left adequate space. Conor Mealy looking to get involved in this fight as well, as is Robbie Callahan and Canto Chukwueze. Conor's got to be careful, though, because he's trying to wiggle his way around and find a way past, but he is being slipstreamed by Mealy, or by Callaghan and Chukwua. Dylan McClements leads, Ronan Doherty second, Sean McClements third. Then it is Brandon McGaughan, but side by side is Peter McCann and Sean McGoldrick in towards the Vale chicane. And who's going to come out on top in this one? Is it going to be the VRA liveried Peter McCann and the Valentino Rossi liveried Sean McGoldrick? McGoldrick trying to hang it round the outside here in very MotoGP-esque style. We saw Dermot Toomey pull this one off earlier. So does Sean McGoldrick. Brilliant fight between these two. Conor Melia tucked into the slipstream, as is Camto Chukwua is looking to fight a way through, but Sean McGoldrick perseveres.
Yeah, great move from McGoldrick. I wasn't sure whether he was going to be able to keep it there as Mealy goes onto the grass on the outside and loses a bit of traction. That's going to invite Robbie Callan to try and make a move, but Mealy's going to have the inside onto this one. Not quite, though. Not enough to keep Robbie Callan out of it. And it looks like that little error from Mealy is going to cost him hugely, because not only does Robbie Callan get through, but as does Camto Chukwua. So that was a really disappointing phase for Conor Melia, who has lost out once again. That's not the only time he's lost out multiple positions in a very short space of time. Now, doesn't this look like a familiar sight? Bump drafting between Dylan McClements and Ronan Doherty, and we had a bit of a race up front, lads. I suspect now, unless Sean can really stick with them, these two boys will do what they do and they'll start to dominate.
Yeah, they have a slight gap. Ronan, of course, saying how difficult it is to pull a gap, but he has a narrow one, which might just give him a sliver of an opportunity. As Brandon clips the sausage curve in the exit of club, and now into the slipstream of Sean McClements in front. It's all settled down a little bit. It's all quiet in the Western Front for now, but I imagine that'll pick back up fairly soon. Someone who we have been given a good bit of stick to this season, but is actually having quite a good heat free, is Jamal Gantour, up 8 positions to 15th, up 9 positions to 14th. He gets past former champion Jordan Kelly.
Yeah, not very often you get to say that. Jamal Gantour overtaking Jordan Kelly, but obviously Jordan slightly hampered, I think it's fair to say, with his controls. But still, for Jamal Gantour, it's been a great evening for the Simsa esports driver. Fair play to Jamal. And yeah, I know you get some slagging, but I suppose, look, if you're a regular and slagging means love. So yeah, and we have a lot of love for Jamal and for his absolute commitment to this series. Right, Peter McCann is another person who commits a lot of time to his series, but will he be losing time to Robbie Callaghan? Let's see what happens here. Callaghan in the number 7 machine, trying to get the move down the inside. Camto Chukwua was going to follow him into it, but Peter McCann manages to hold one of them off. Robbie Callaghan through into 6th place.
Yep, nice move from Robbie Callaghan. Gets the job done. Here's Jordan Kelly fighting back with Jamal Gantour, and Kelly probably didn't expect to be fighting Jamal this season, but of course Jordan, with his work commitments, has to race on keyboard and controller from time to time, so not able to commit fully to these championships, but he can still have some good fun racing on a Tuesday nonetheless. And of course we'll be announcing our next season soon, so make sure you can you join RTA for some good Tuesday night fun as well. Still Dylan McClements in the lead, as we're only over the halfway point in this one.
I know my voice is going to be gone by the time we get to the end of this one, because this is very tight already. So if everyone could just maybe chill out for a lap or two before we get to the last
let us
5
have a
minutes
waffle like we usually do, and then we'll get back to things.
I don't think it's going to happen, because Camto Chukwua looks like he's going to go for a move on Peter McCann here. He does get that move done as McCann opens up the door and allows that slightly, and Chukwua's just going to stand on the apex here and make sure that he has the inside line, but that's going to invite Peter McCann back into it. Don't think that Peter can't get it done around the outside here. He may be an old fox, but he's a wily old fox. But McCann can't quite get it done, and manages to hold on to 8th position and not get overtaken any further. Now here's Ronan Duffy, Jamal Gantour. We're looking at Ronan Duffy, but it's Jamal Gantour who gets that move done. He's now ahead of David Prunty. Must have had an issue there. Jamal put a commentator's curse on him, because he was ahead of Jordan Kelly, but now finds himself behind. He's still up 8 places though. Brandon McCann's up 5 places, and he is just ahead of these two boys, Robbie Callaghan and Sean McGoldrick.
Yes, let's have a look at the Gantry TV replay then, see what's gone on here. Who has gone into a spot of bother? I see Jordan Kelly. Is it Jordan who's made a mistake, or was it Jamal? Jordan looks all good for now. Does he get punctured? Oh, something does happen to Jordan.
That is.
He's blown up his gearbox. Oh dear.
Oh God. Oh Jesus. Yeah. I wonder, did he forget the button mapping to go up a gear? Was he just
British Formula Ford champion.
champion? Yeah. Champion gearbox destroyer, Jordan Kelly. Right, that's the last we'll see of him. So that's one less person we have to commentate on. Here is Con Amelia, battling here with Evan Walsh, and Amelia is going to get the move done here on Walsh, I think. They're still tight. Con Amelia stuck in it, and can Amelia make it? Ooh, let's see. Yeah, Jordan Kelly says, blew my engine up, controller buttons mixed up. So I think Jordan, instead of taking fifth, he went into third and blew up his engine. So not great from Jordan Kelly, I think that's fair to say. But yeah, certainly not something you would do if you had a proper gearbox. Right, this has been a great battle between Conor Mealy and Evan Walsh, but Evan is actually ahead. Um, Ronan Hederman says, tell that to Peter McCann. And I know people who knows what that reference is. Well, yeah, Vorsprung Dutch technique. I'll leave it at that. Right, Peter McCann is in 7th. He hasn't blown up any Mazda gearboxes, at least, even if he's blown up some other ones. But yeah, Kamta Chukra getting moved down the inside. He's going to end up in the sausage curve.
Oh,
Chukra, he's going to do it. Kamto's doing a Peter McCann on Peter McCann. But this time doesn't take out the Leishman. And McCann stays where he is, but only thanks to Chukwu's overly ambitious line through that final corner.
Yeah, Campto did the can on the outside of Peter McCann. That was could have been awful for Campto, as he clipped that sausage curb and held on to it nicely all the same. Remains in 8th position. They have given us our few moments peace by the looks of things. The top 4 all just staying together, relaxing, having a bit of a chat, and then maybe they'll go racing towards the end of it. It is Ronan Doherty, Sean McClemens, Brandon McGahan and Robbie Callahan. Some of the movers and shakers still Jamal up 9 spots, David Prunty up 6th, and David is going to get some points. Unfortunately for Dara Halley, he's disconnected again, so this will be a drop round for Dara with a no score on the board.
Yeah, and that's what the drop rounds are for. They're for those kind of nights where everything transpires against you, whether it's tech or otherwise. So he will be making use of that. I suspect the top 4 have been basically trying to stop themselves from laughing. I imagine Jordan Kelly came on voice chat and told them exactly what happened to his gearbox. So I suspect the top 4 were just making sure they didn't crash into each other in amongst all the tiers. Right, here is Ronan Doherty. Speaking of that top 4 clash, let's see what happens here. Ronan's still running at the moment, so Ronan is going for a move down the inside of Dylan McClements and gets that move done. McClements opens up the door. He's not fighting his cousin too much. There's 3 of them in it. And the man who Johnny Hollywood said this on chat earlier woke up and chose violence today, Brandon McGahan. And I think that's a fairly fair assessment of his evening thus far. Less than 5 minutes left in this one, Evan. How do you see this one playing out?
It's going to be interesting, whether it's going to be slipstreaming on the last lap. Sean McClemens will probably like his positioning in this one. If he's able to get close to his brother and his cousin in front on the last lap. Brandon McGahan, I'm sure he has something else to say in this one, as he's all over the back of Sean McClemens now, and he's going to look for the move here down the inside. Sean just lets him through. He had to slow down, so that is that is why Brandon's got through. Sean has to slow down, but these two have made contact already this evening. They've had fierce battles in RTA across the last 2 seasons, so that one might continue.
Yeah, and it is a very inviting back bumper to get in contact with, so I think it's fair to say. Right, let's have a look at the B Championship and where we are at the moment. Emma Dempsey's up to 19th. So she is making a little bit of headway on that. Ronan Duffy's had a spin now, but I don't think he's going to lose out a huge amount of positions. Phil Upson will probably get past him. Let's have a look at what happened to the Palestina, Viva Palestina number 14 machine. Ronan going for a move down the inside. Will he be seen?
No.
Yeah.
No.
The answer is quite resoundingly what Dalton just said. No, is the answer to that one. Yeah, it's just you could just see delivery and you knew what was happening. Right. Despite that, Jamel's still up to 15th, so like it kind of gives you a sense of how this race is. And Evan, I have the same kind of surprise by the amount of carnage tonight because obviously, carnage is always going to happen when you have 3 races. But with these cars that are relatively stable and you're on a huge wide Grand Prix track that's meant for all types of racing, I would have hoped that we would have less incidents, particularly of that kind of those those avoidable ones where there probably was plenty of space for those two to get through that corner safely, but they just couldn't make it happen.
I mean, it's interesting the way it works out. That I almost think sometimes the wider the track, the more cocooned the drivers become within themselves, and they forget that there's other people. Because somewhere in the back of their mind, they're like, "That's a wide track. I won't hit them." Oh, I've just pulled straight across 4 of them, and it's almost the circuit being big and allowing such open racing causes crashes. There's also the thing is, you're going to get a lot more overtaking at Silverstone than maybe you'd get at Lime Rock or Mid-Ohio. And the more battles side by side you have, the more contact there's going to be naturally. It climbs proportionally. So there's that side of the argument as well. Speaking of battling, Sean McGoldrick has got past Robbie Callaghan and he is up to 5th position. And it's looking like it's going to be a McGoldrick, Callaghan and Chukwa fight to the end of the race.
Yeah, I thought Jamal being from Lebanon, he'd have a bit more respect for the Palestine car, but apparently that doesn't quite come across from the Mediterranean Sea. That's okay. That's
oh, that's a bit far.
No, it's not really. Just Lebanon and Palestine are allies, so I'm just surprised that the two of them would be involved in contact. It was a whimsical joke based on the fact that the two of them are political allies. I haven't mentioned anything about the other crowd, so don't worry, we're safe enough. Right, Robbie Callaghan and Sean McGoldrick battling side by side. McGoldrick looking a little bit squirrely there going into that right-hander, but they're managing to get it done, and Evan Walsh and Conor Melia getting very close as we get through the last lap. And I think it's fair to say, Evan, disappointing evening for Conor Melia as well. He'll be feeling like he left some points behind him this evening.
Yeah, very disappointing. Something's happened between Brandon McGohan and Sean McClemens because the top two are in a world of their own now, as they are. This is going to be the last lap of this one. So it's not going to be a barnstorming end to Silverstone, and it is going to end quite disappointingly in terms of those looking for a last lap scrap, and it is going to be a clean sweep from Ronan Doherty. Just a couple of days after one of his biggest racing achievements to date, he sweeps RTA, and it's the first hat-trick of the evening. Ronan Doherty really is one of the best in the country on his day. Dylan McClements in 2nd, Brandon McGohan in 3rd, Sean McClements in 4th, Robbie Callaghan in 5th, Sean McGoldrick comes home in 6th position. Unfortunately, Conor Melia not inside the top 10.
Yeah, sorry, Evan. Really disappointing one for Conor. He just left in a huge amount of points, and a very disappointing evening for this woman as well. Emma Dempsey, an absolutely huge opportunity opened up for her, and she just couldn't take it this evening with Dave Collier having technical issues. So if Dave's back next week, pressure's going to be massively on that number 17 car. She could have opened up a big gap and given herself a bit of breathing room, but as it is now, she's going to have to scrap every round from here till the end of the evening to get it done. But it is indeed Ronan Doherty's week. It was a fantastic evening last week for him. What a weekend it's been from at Mondello. And once again, he goes 3 from 3 in back-to-back race meetings in both real life and virtual. It's been superb stuff from Ronan Doherty, and I expect that he will be joining us in the interview room very shortly.
Yes, absolutely. We will run you through the full results first, as I think we're waiting on David Prunty to come home, but it is Ronan Doherty. No, we will wait on David. Sorry, David, apologies. You never start your dinner until everyone's sat down at the table. So David Prunty crosses the line to finish 19th.
Tell that to my brothers.
Kevin's brothers wait until he's home from court to start the dinner. I'm not going to give context on that one. Ronan Doherty is your race winner. Dylan McClements in 2nd, Brandon McGohan in 3rd, Sean McClements in 4th, Robbie Callaghan in 5th, and it is Sean McGoldrick, Campbell Chukwa, Peter McCann, Evan Walsh, Dermot Toomey, Conor Melia, Nicky Meredith, Simon Hutchings, Jamal Gandor, Phil Upson, Ross Wheatley, Emma Dempsey, Ronan Duffy, David Prunty, Paul Sheehan, and then below him it is Nathan Sweeney, Nathan Sweeney, Jordan Kelly, Ollie Meredith, and unfortunately Darragh Halley and Dave Collier. Kevin, would you like to speak to our race winner, seeing as I spoke to him earlier?
Yeah, let's do that. Where is Ronan Darty?
He's doesn't fancy joining us.
Oh, there he is. Lord Farquaad has joined us himself. Ronan, first of all, what's up with the livery?
I don't know, I just picked it on trading paints because I thought it was funny, I guess. So just for the crack. So me and Brannon coming through there, I'm sure a few boys are laughing whenever we went past.
I mean, some of the driving makes us laugh, but I don't know about whatever about the liveries. Are you particularly a Star Wars fan? Like, I thought it was some inside joke, and then I realized there's like 160 other people racing that paint as well. So obviously your sense of humor is shared by others. Right. Ronan, more importantly, congratulations. Obviously, a huge congratulations on the weekend. We mentioned it before. It has been a great week for you on track and in the virtual world. Probably, am I right to say, probably the best week you've had in terms of out-and-out results?
Yeah, listen, it would have to be 3 wins at the weekend, 3 wins tonight. So, racing's a funny game. You have good weeks and bad weeks, and this is definitely one of the better ones.
And obviously, you left it late to announce your entry into the Leinster Trophy at the weekend. Did you feel like, I suppose there's a bit of not retribution there, but reconciliation, or what's the word I'm looking for? You wanted to try and, I suppose, make up for races gone by, and do you feel like you kind of did that this weekend, and did that kind of take a bit of pressure off your shoulders?
Yeah, I just want to go down and show my pace, and listen, what happened last year, it's done now, and I really have to thank a lot of people in the V community who I'd say 99% of the paddock is in complete support of me, and yeah, it was more of a relief to get it over the line. And obviously with the first year I broke down while leading it too, so it nearly feels like I could have had 3 of them, but shoulda, coulda, woulda, and that's just how racing goes.
Yeah, and I suppose, like, not to dwell on it, but I suppose, like, this, after what happened last year, this year, can you feel like you can kind of close the chapter on it now, and it's done, and you can put it behind you, right?
Yeah, listen, like that's probably going to be the last V race I do for a while. It's a fantastic class, and I'd recommend it to absolutely anybody who's looking to enter single-seater racing in Ireland. Great guys and girls over there at Formula V Ireland. But yeah, it'll probably be my last V race for a while.
Right, back to more important matters at hand, the MX-5 World Series. You've been the bridesmaid and not the bride recently. You've certainly put yourself in a great opportunity to be the bride this year. Are you ready to have another championship win? Do you feel like you've put the groundwork in now to make that happen?
Yeah, well, listen, certainly going good so far, but there's been championships before. I've been leading a lot and had a disastrous couple of last rounds. And no, I'm enjoying this championship. It's sort of because everyone's so close. It caters to me a bit more, where I can just use my racecraft and tricks and stuff to gain my advantage in the field. And yeah, hopefully I can get this one done.
Right, well, Ronan, congratulations. Normally, we reserve this for, I suppose, drivers who don't get as much of the limelight, but given, like, fantastic last week, an amazing weekend in Mondello, and then a triple race winner, first of the year, I think I'm right in saying. We thought it was only fitting to give you our Gantry TV driver of the day for this evening. So I know you may have a Leinster trophy, but I'm sure when you look back on your career, the Gantry TV RTA driver of the day will be up there as some of your most cherished awards.
Yeah, definitely up there. Thanks again for the stream tonight, lads. Makes great watching back, and thanks to everyone at home for tuning in as well.
Yeah, and thanks to you, Ronan, for the driving and indeed for joining us and your honesty about everything that's happened over the last week. It's probably been a very emotional one for you, even though I know you wouldn't admit it. So, look, congratulations, and we're really looking forward to chatting to you next week when things are a little bit more calm for you.
Thanks, Kev. Keep it country.
Keep our country. As speaking of keeping our country, here's Dylan McClemens.
Dylan, you turned into Ronan tonight with a good few second places, just not able to get ahead of him at the end.
Yeah, I felt good at the start. I got a good start and all, but I think I don't know if it was tires or it was me, but something just didn't really feel right then. But to be fair to Ronan, he drove brilliant.
You're still definitely in championship contention. Of course, we're at round 5 of the season of 8. Still plenty of time to go. Are you still hopeful of maybe going back to back?
Yeah, well, that's the plan. I'm gonna push for it, but 3 rounds to go. I have to see where I'm at after points and stuff. As I said, I didn't really have a great first couple of races, so hopefully I'm not that far behind and then push on the last 3 races, try to go for the championship again.
And finally, and most importantly, have you decided to bin off the racing and pursue a footballing career just yet?
Nope.
Didn't think so. Dylan McClements,
I-
congratulations once again.
Cheers,
I
everyone.
think. Sorry, Dylan. Before it just I think given what's happened this week, I think we all understand why, and I think we will just leave it at that.
I don't think I'll be playing much football
Yeah.
for the next couple of weeks anyway.
Definitely don't play in goals anyway.
Right,
Congrats. Sorry about making that all very befuddled at the end. But Dylan, thank you very much for joining us, and sorry for cutting on top of you there, Evan.
All good, Kevin. And now Brandon McGaughan in third place.
Brandon, interesting evening for you. I'll just sum it up by a comment left on our YouTube channel. I'm sure you keep an eye on it. He said, Brandon woke up this morning. This is from Johnny Hollywood. Brandon says, he says, Brandon woke up this morning and chose violence and then called one of your moves attempted murder. Is that a little bit far, or did you feel like things were particularly aggressive this evening?
Don't know. To be fair, the third race I think was all right. It was a bit better. I kept it nice and clean. I can't mind what one he's talking about. He could be right enough. To be fair, there was a couple of aggressive ones tonight, but all good crack anyway.
Yeah, like, did you go into it planning to be a bit more aggressive given the championship, or was it just the way the race panned out? You were just thinking on the spot.
Not really. It's just kind of the way it panned out. Like the where were we? I race one. Sorry, yeah, the one with Sean was like, accidental. Like I was kind of trying to get my way back onto the track, and ball was more alongside than it was, and it pitched him around. And then after that, it was just kind of, it was all a bit dogfighty. When you drop down into the pack a bit, it all gets very aggressive. So I didn't come in expecting it to be that bad, but kept me on my toes all night anyway.
Yeah, but a great finish in the final race, I suppose. And yeah, I mean, it's a track that lends itself to being a bit more aggressive. Like, it's open and wide, and we haven't really gotten to race on tracks like that much this season.
Yeah, it's very like wide flowing track to be racing these Mazdas on. They've no aero or nothing, so it's definitely it lends itself to quite a dive bomb.
Tell me, you had you've had fond memories at Silverstone recently, because 2 wins in the Ligier European Series for you, only recently in Silverstone. So you're enjoying driving around here. Would you just like to come here every week?
Yeah, I mean, here if every race weekend went like last weekend, I'd be a very happy man. So it definitely went a bit better than tonight anyway.
Well, look, third place is nothing to be sniffed at, and you are carrying obviously a little bit of extra weight with the livery that you have, so that makes things a little bit more difficult. Brandon, congratulations and on your third position, and hopefully we'll be speaking to you before the end of the season.
Good man, cheers.
So that was Brandon McGaughan. We were kind of blessed with real life royalty this evening. We've spoken to lots of people who have actually stood on a podium this weekend in some pretty serious series, including this man, Brandon McGaughan. I mean, a clean sweep at Silverstone on track, and then to come into third position on the virtual world as well. So, as I said, very fond memories of this place before we head to Virginia next week.
Yeah, we're kind of getting serious all of a sudden, really, here in RTA and the caliber of drivers we have. I kind of just want to slag off Sean McClements again, to be brutally honest. But we go to another serious circuit Next week, of course, Virginia International Raceway. Then back to the Brands Hatch Indy. That one, that's going to be mental. And then it is Bathurst. I haven't ever seen an RTA race at Bathurst. There might well have been one, but that is going to be some season finale.
Yeah, I'm almost positive we had it on the calendar in the supercar, the V8 supercars in the IDMC. I did feel like it was Carnage at the time, in my recollection. But you know, when you were talking last season about Barber Motorsports and how you felt like it was going to be a particularly good track, I have to say Virginia, when I saw it being announced VIR, is the one that really stuck out in my mind. I love this track. It's
Brilliant
a
track.
great driver's track. Whether it'll translate into good racing, I mean, there's plenty of opportunities, plenty of tight corners, plenty of heavy braking corners as well. So I do hope it translates into good racing. But certainly it's going to test a lot of these guys and girls on the grid. So let's see how they get on. But a clean sweep from Ronan Doherty to go on top of his Leinster Trophy victory at the weekend. We've had a whole host of drivers who have had great weekends turn it into further great weeks. We're into the last 3 rounds now. We're getting right to the end of this MX-5 World Series, and we hope you join us next week for round 6 at Virginia International Raceway. Remember, in the meantime, you can head over to RTA Virtual Motorsport if you want to sign up for the next season, or indeed keep an eye on what's going on in the current season. That will be updated, I'm sure, in absolutely no time. I can also head to motorsport.ie. It's been, as we talked about, plenty this evening, very busy weekend for Irish drivers on the track, and Leo will be on top of all of that. Probably shouldn't mention Leoger's greatest rival, Bois Motorsport, in this breath, but to be fair to you, Evan, you did absolutely superb coverage over the weekend, and you've made up for my laziness, because all I need to do is go on your Instagram and I'll pretty much see exactly what's happened over the weekend, so making my job a lot easier as we head
have
into
more
this
coming.
weekend.
Coolest project potentially ever coming.
Very, very much looking forward to that. And remember, you can head to the Sim Consultants for all your sim racing gear. As we said, we're getting closer towards Christmas. The days are drawing in, and no doubt people will be spending a lot more time on their sim rigs if the weather continues the way it is at the moment. So before you get to the end of your real racing season, or you're just interested in getting involved in some of the special events on iRacing, a new updated iRacing later on this year, or I mean, you're like me and you've just rediscovered Dirt Rally 2.0 and you're spending all of your time on that, then the Sim Consultants is the place to get top quality gear, but not just top quality gear, top quality service, and a service that comes right from home. So I think for a lot of guys, that's exactly what they're looking for. So Ronan may swear if you come back with a Fanatec issue, but he will be there on hand to fix it. So look, those are all the shout outs. Thanks so much for joining us again this evening. Thanks to everyone for on the comments. Sorry, Johnny, for throwing you under the bus, but you know it's all in good nature. And I'm sure you guys will join us again next week, 9 o'clock Tuesday, for the third last round of the MX-5 World Series. But from me, Kevin Galvin, Ronan Hederman in the background, and Evan Dalton joining me, for now, it's Song of Fall.